Thanks to FEU Alabang's ACM for inviting me to give this talk. Now, let's present the solution. No, we saw the problem na. Let's try solving it. No, real developers, they use version control systems. No? Yung notion ng version control, hindi na bago yan. Since 70s, meron na. No, some people call it source control or source code management. No, kasi we're managing source code. And nowadays, the most widely used such system is Git. Okay? So, how to set up Git? Kung naka-Windows ka, you have to download it pa. So, kung naka-Linux ka naman, chances are built-in na siya. Okay? So, kung bubuksan ko siya right now, ganito yung itsura, right? And then, download ko siya. Okay? So, I'll download it. Then, 64, yeah. Keep. So, while we're waiting for that to download, most of the stuff sa installation part, it really won't concern you as a beginner. No, some of them you really don't have to look at. No, and there are some important choices later on. I'll show you kung ano yung mga important choices na yun. Okay, so let's skip that part first. How does Git work? Okay, so Git software siya. Okay, na helps us solve yung problems kanina. So what it does is may folder ka and it integrates itself to that folder. No, magiging Git repository yung folder mong yun. No? And then once na naging repository na siya, it tracks the changes per file. Okay? And then the way Git tracks yung changes na yun, it tracks them in stuff that we call commits. No? So para siyang pinicturean mo yung code mo at that date, no, at that time or at that point in time sa project na yun. Okay? So tayo yung nagde-decide kung alin doon yung commit. So kunyari feeling ko, okay na tong code na to. Sige, I'll take a picture and then ito yung isang commit. Okay, tayo nagde-decide nun, hindi yung Git. Okay? Tapos, since we track yung mga changes lang and not the whole file, we tend to save space, no? Kasi tinatrack lang natin yung lines na dinagdag and lines na binabawas, no? So effectively, we do save some space. And later on, we do save some bandwidth if we work with other people, no? Then, in addition, we also see yung exact changes ng commit. So kung nagde-debug tayo and then kapag nagbanggaan yung code natin, we could see these easier and we could solve them much faster. Okay? So, in theory, let's discuss how to make Git commits. So, una, syempre you have to make changes to our files. No? So, it's better if you do smaller, isolated changes first. No? So, kunyari, naka-assign sa'yo is gawa ka na login page. No? So, mas maganda na mas maliit yung changes mo na, okay, dagdag muna ako ng button, dagdag muna ako ng text, or okay, dinagdag ko na yung code na yung JavaScript na nag-interface with stuff like this. No, yung mas maganda, mas maliit. So what are the reasons behind this? Bakit mas maliit yung gusto natin? So kung nakakasira yung change na yun, agad natin makikita yung error sa code. Okay, so kasi alam natin, maliit lang yung iniba natin, no? Makita natin yung error mas narrowed down to that change. In comparison to gumawa tayo ng commit and then marami tayong pinalitan, let's say 1,000 lines of code, no? We would have difficulty in finding the exact error, the exact breaking thing that happens in that 1,000-line change, no? And yun nga, smaller changes are easier to handle. And later on, when we merge stuff with our teammates, no, kapag nagkabanggaan man or something like that, it would be way easier to manage. Okay? So, iniban na natin yung changes. Iniban na natin yung files natin. May ginawa tayong changes. Then, we add those files to staging. Okay? So, most people are confused. Bakit pa tayo pumupunta sa staging? Okay, most people are confused about this. No? Bakit hindi na lang tayo mag-commit kaagad? So there are times na if you're editing a big project and you just want to make a commit with only some of the files, edi stage mo lang yung some of the files. Then don't stage the others, no? So a good way to think about this is you're just taking a picture of the part na pinalitan mo. Okay? Instead of taking a picture of the whole thing, no? Na kahit pinalitan mo konti lang. Okay? So that's the reason behind bakit tayo nagsistaging. Okay? Then lastly, we make the commit itself, no? So each commit has its own description. Sinasabi niya kung ano nangyari sa commit na yun. So make the message very descriptive. Huwag kayo magtipid. And standards sa industry, it has to be in imperative form. And then there are also other standards na fina-follow. So other organizations, they do this pa, no? Parang may prefix and then may message. Okay? So let's demonstrate that. So first, pakita ko lang saglit paano na-install yung Git. So I don't know if you could read this, pero tuloy lang natin. So this by default, okay na to, right? Then okay din yan. You really don't have to think about that. Pero this one's very important, okay? So if you're not familiar with the terminal, basically, what this means is anong notepad yung gagamitin mo sa terminal, no? And Vim, if you're familiar with it, it's notoriously hard to manage if you're a beginner, no? So I do advise against using this if you're new to the terminal. Ako personally, I don't want to trouble myself with Vim, so I just use the Nano editor. Okay? So this is also okay. No. Next. This is also okay. Okay. Ito, you want to commit Unix style line endings kasi later on you will be working with other machines na hindi Windows. So maganda na yung Git mismo yung nag-a-adjust para sa kanila. Okay? This is also okay. This is also okay. No, all of these are okay. Yeah, install. So cancel that kasi meron na akong Git sa machine ko. Okay. So let's get started. Okay? Una, we have to have a project. No? Right now, I have a sample existing project over here. No? So if you have existing project, you could initialize it as a Git repository, no problem. Okay, so pakita ko lang right now. I'll open Git here, no? Okay, so andito na yung Git, right? So I'll go back to the existing project folder. Then hopefully you could read this. No, I'll open Git bash over here. And in case na hindi nyo alam how to do that, no, what we do is, if you open Git bash kasi, this is at your home directory na may tilde. No, so kung titignan ko kung ano yung working directory ko, I'm at this folder. Okay, so I want to move to this folder. Okay, so mag-change directory tayo with cd, then nasa dev folder ko yan, then nasa talk, and then nasa existing project, right? So if you don't know how to go to that folder, ganun siya. Okay? So again, if you don't know how to if you don't know how to work with the terminal, it's better na you look up a tutorial on how that works. Okay? So anyway, so how do we start a Git repository with this folder? Kasi right now, folder lang siya. Okay? So if I open VS Code, no, ganyan yung command ng code sa Git bash. Now, if I open VS Code over here, makikita nyo may isang index.html file lang, and then ganyan yung laman. Okay, nothing special. Okay, so if we want to start a Git repository in that folder, sasabihin lang natin is git init, which is short for git initialize. No, pero that's too long, so we'll just say git init. Okay? By the way, I don't think that also works. That doesn't work, right? So git init lang talaga. Okay. So kung nag-VS Code ka, there's a lot of integrations with Git na you could use. And one of these, makikita mo may bagong marker. Kukulay green yan. Now, if you're not using VS Code, tendencies, wala yon, and you wouldn't know. Okay? So right now, if I do git status, no, the command, makikita natin, no commits yet. No? Kasi wala pa tayong ginawa. And then there are new files na hindi niya natatrack, which is index.html. So, we have already done this step na may ginawa tayong change. For example, here, yung change natin is nagkabago tayong file. No? So, now we add them to staging. Okay? So, to add this to staging, what we do is we do git add and then yung file. Okay? So, yung file na yun is index.html and that will be added to staging. And when you do git status again, makikita mo, okay, changes new committed, we have a new file. Okay? Now, if we want to remove this to staging, ito yung command, sinasabi na mismo ni git sa atin. No? And then yung file na yun. Okay, so when we do git status again, we will see na back to the old status siya, no? Walang nakatrack, walang nakastage, stuff like that. Okay, so again, I would like to add this. Pero what if marami tayong files? What if 100 files tayo dito? We don't want to do this again and again, right? You know, meron tayong index 1 and then meron tayong index 2 hanggang index 100. That would be a pain in the neck to do, no? So we could do git add a folder, no? And when we reference folders in the terminal, no, when we reference directories in the terminal, we could just say git add dot meaning the current folder, no? And this is our current folder. So we could add the whole project to staging. Okay? So what happens is sa status, ayan, makikita natin same as before. Okay? So we have added some stuff to staging. Now we make the commit. Okay? So we could do this by git commit, no? And then magbubukas yung editor natin. Ito yung nano, right? So kung pinili niyo yung Vim yung lalabas, which is way harder to work with kung bago ka, kung baguhan ka pa lang sa terminal. So yung nano, parang notepad lang yan. Basically, you just put text in. Okay? So may sinasabi siyang instruction here, just enter the commit message. And remember my advice na it has to be very descriptive. Okay, later on, we will see the importance of this, no? So, kapag bago lang yung commit, kapag first commit mo siya, what you just say is initial commit. Okay? And then, sinasabi, okay, Control X, exit, and then Y to save. Okay? So, that saves that. And then, itong message na to, it says, may bago tayong commit. Okay? So, when we do git status again, nothing to commit, everything's clean. No? And, nawala yung message no commits yet. Okay. And then we repeat the cycle. Okay? So, may bago na naman tayong change. So, kunyari, sinabi natin na, okay, maganda may heading tayo, no? My heading. No, stuff like that. No? So, we make the change, we add it to staging, no? And then we commit. And then, a trick here is, instead of pressing enter kagad and then opening nano ulit, we could just apply a flag, no? Apply an option, -m, meaning message, no? And then just put our message here. No? And again, imperative form, very descriptive. Ginawa natin add a heading. No? Something like that. Then makikita natin na-commit na siya. Okay, so again, if you want more information about that, we could just search it online. Pero ganun lang yung pinaka-basic stuff with making Git commits. Okay? So, what can we do with commits? No, right now, we just made the commit, pero para saan? No, anong gagawin natin dyan? So, we can view all of our commits so far. No, so we can do Git Log. No? So, Git Log, kita natin ganyan. We have these commits. No? Ito yung pinaka-recent na commit natin, add the heading, and then initial commit. So, a part of a commit is may hash siya, may unique ID siya. No? And then, sinong gumawa na yon? Sinong gumawa ng commit na yon? This is me. right? And then what's the date? So this time, this date, at that time zone. Okay? Then ano yung message? Now, I'll show you what Git Log looks like in a bigger project, no? So, lipat tayo dun sa big project sample. So, kung mag-Git Log ako, mahaba yan. So, you have to scroll down with the arrow keys. No? So, to exit out of this, you just press Q. Okay? Your problem with this is a lot to take in. Lalo na kung may 1,000 commits ka or something. Medyo matagal matagal yung pag-browse ng commits natin. Okay? So, another option na we could use is one line. No? Then, makita natin one commit per line. And then, yun yung hash. And then, ito yung message. And in this case, we don't need to worry about kung sino yung author and stuff like that. We just need to worry about what happened. No, we just need to worry about the description. And we just add one line. Then yung makita natin dyan. Ganyan. Right? So, what else can we do? So we can check them out. No, we can view the project at that specific commit. No, so right now we're viewing the project at the most recent one, right? So what if I want to view the project back when nasa initial commit pa siya? No, so how do we do that? No, so una, let's go back to our existing project. No, then log tayo, and remember now we have this unique ID of the commit, the unique hash of the commit. We could use this to determine which commit we want to check out. So, pwede tayong git checkout DE1370 something. No? So, sasabihin dito, you have stuff like this, no? And then we are currently viewing the project at that commit. So, nawala yung heading natin. No? So, my advice is don't make edits while you're doing this. It's better na you make edits while you're viewing the project at its latest version. Kasi you will have some weird stuff if you do some commits while at this stage. Okay? So we could check them out, no, at previous commits. So if you want to view the project, yun yata previous version, you could just do this. Okay? Now, this is very useful if you want to check out what happened, no, stuff like that. Okay. So, what else can we do? No? We can see the changes made by that commit. No? This is the command for it. No, git diff commit and the file. So, let's go check out ulit sa branch natin na master. So, later on, I'll just discuss what this means. Pero, this is your command to go back to the front of your project. Okay, so git diff, then commit, no, DE1370, and then the file, so index.html. No? And then with this command, you could see na, okay, what happened with this commit? What the difference between this commit and my current file is may dinagdag na heading. No? Very simple. And not only that, Git also provides doing a diff between two files, not only with commit and a file. So kung gagawa akong copy niyan, no, and then paste it, no, rename it index2, and then make some copy, gawin natin to h2, no. We could do git diff index1, index.html, and index2. No, we could do that. And then, sinasabi niya walang nangyari. Na-save ba to? Kasi di pa na-commit. So, if I make a commit, makikita nyo yung difference between those two files. Okay, so that's also very useful if you're making a project and you have to match a certain output format. Okay? Then, we could reverse the effects of a certain commit. So, kanina, what we did is, delete muna natin yan. What we did with the past commit, no, git log, here, what we did here is nagdagdag tayo ng h1, no? technically para siyang mathematical expression na ginawa natin dito. Okay, take whatever we have here and then just add an H1 at this line in this file. No, parang ganun. No, so if you want to reverse yung nangyari dito na gusto mo, instead of nag-add ka ng line, gusto mo nagre-remove ka, you could do git revert. No? And we could do that by doing git revert for 9DA, no, kung naman yung hash here. And then mag-ask siya ng bagong commit, no? And this is usually apt na, that's okay na. And makikita natin na wala yung H1 sa project natin. Okay? Then kung titignan natin yung log, we will see here na we had the new commit na may ganyan. Okay? So to better visualize what we're doing here, I also do recommend na you do this on your own. Okay? So may website akong rin-recommend with a lot of people is learngitbranching.js.org, no? And here you could visualize what happens in your Git repository. So kanina, can we like escape this? Yeah. So kanina we were making commits, no? So pwede tayong git add, right? Or something. So tapos git commit. So kita natin may bagong commit. Yung arrow pabalik kasi you're referencing the previous commit and you're making changes to the previous commit. Okay, then git commit, no? And then let's say we want to revert the changes of C2, then we just do git revert C2. No, yun yung nangyayari. Basically kinuha niya and then reverse niya and then commit siya. Okay? So hopefully that's simple enough for everyone. Okay? So yeah, we actually just did that. So compared to the old setup, no? Working alone, we had these problems kanina. So we no longer have the big problem of space usage kasi we do save space by tracking changes instead of tracking the whole project. Okay, so kunyari we just changed a few bytes. No, with the old version, gagawa tayo ng bagong copy. So kung 1 gigabyte yon, another gigabyte. Now, with Git, we just track that few bytes na pinalitan natin. So we don't have to duplicate that whole 1 gigabyte project anymore. Now, we also eliminate the problem of granularity kasi we don't have to worry about space anymore. We can have very, very detailed changes, small changes sa project natin. No? Kasi we just track the bytes now. We don't duplicate stuff anymore. So if we go back to the big project, no, here you could see na maraming changes dito and then we could see per commit ano nangyari. So dito may dragdag akong comma separation or whatever. And then may mga revert ako dito, no? And then what exactly happened, right? Instead of the old way na, okay, may bago akong version, all of these things happen. Okay? So, we have better granularity in that regard. No? And we don't run the risk of contaminating, quote-unquote, yung stuff natin anymore. Kasi, since we do have smaller versions, no, we track smaller changes. If we mess up, we just mess up like, 10 minutes worth of work instead of, yun nga, yung big version natin.